Something I really love is Irish slang. Whenever you get those pictures on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and they have all the big lists of Irish slang, I'm always going through them going, oh yeah. So today I've decided to go through a list of Irish slang that I've got off the internet and let you know whether I use any of it and whether I know anyone that does. And I'm sure some of it I've never even heard of. I briefly went through this list just to make sure that it was a halfway decent list. The first slang word is acting a maggot. I don't use this, but I know a lot of people that do, and they put the meaning as fooling and messing around, which that's pretty accurate to be honest. It's more Belfast that I would know that uses it, and I'm sure there's other places in Ireland that use it. And their example is stop acting the maggot, which yeah, that's pretty much the way you hear that's it. The next one they put is bad dose, and as the meaning they put severe illness. It's not really for a severe illness, I wouldn't say. Like you'd say to someone you have a bad dose of the cold, but you wouldn't really say, oh geez, you have a bad dose of something really serious. That went well. Then bang on, which they've put means right, accurate, correct. If you said to someone, yep, bang on, it means, yep, you've gotten point. Because quite often we can't make ourselves understood and we'll be like, oh, you know your man, what's it you call him? And they're like, Stevie, and you're like, bang on. The next one is Banjaxed, and it means broken. I have heard it used, but I've never really used it. I think more sort of south tends to use that a bit more, you know, like, oh geez, your car's Banjaxed, but I don't know, I have never really used it, but I quite like the word, I kind of want to use it more. Black stuff. This is Guinness, and yeah, everybody uses that. Boyo, which is they've put male juvenile. They're being very professional about this. Then bucketing down. I love this one because I use it all the time. Just bucketing down outside. It means it's raining really, really hard. Yeah, I think that's just used all over because it's bucketing down, you know? I apologise if the lighting is changing, by the way, I'm using natural light, so yeah, can't really change the sun and it's decided to go behind clouds, which is just great. It was completely cloudless sky when I started this video. Bunk off, which means they have put to skip school or work, and that is correct. Yeah, a lot of people would have said, oh, where's so-and-so? They're bunking off. And you're like, oh, alright, I'm gonna get in trouble. Chancer is the next one, which they put means someone who takes a risk. Chancer, yeah, it's kind of, I always feel like the meanings that they're giving are technically correct, but there's just like if you're from here you kind of know what it means, and there's like an extra sort of depth to the meaning. If you say someone's a chancer, it means it's someone who would be, you know, oh my friend's in the club, yeah, see them, totally, they'd be a chancer. The next one I don't know, and I'm not even that sure how to pronounce it. It's chiseler, I think. I don't know. It says young child and apparently it's Dublin slang. Don't use it, never heard it, but I would like to hear it used. The next one is Katuk, and it means like left-handed, but we don't really use it. I've heard the odd person use it. Then cod or codnia, which means to pull someone's leg. We don't really say that, we say kidney to mean, you know, to pull someone's leg, as in like, oh, I'm only kidding you. But sort of more south, I think, tend to say codnia instead of kidney, I think. The next one, my favourite, is craic, which means fun, gossip, goings on, according to them. Basically, craic is almighty. The craic was mighty last night. What's the craic? How are you? Is the craic good? Any craic? There's so many different ways to use this absolutely glorious phrase. It's not a phrase, it's a word. Filming this video is great crack. Crack on, which is not the same as crack. It means to get on with. So if I was to say, you know, geez, I better crack on with, you know, the homework. I don't have homework, why am I saying homework? Then Culchie, which means like a country person. They have put person from rural agricultural area. Culchie basically means a country hick farmery type person. The next one's deadly, which basically just means amazing. If you say, oh, that was deadly, it's like, that was amazing. Donkey's ears, which means for a very, 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 very long time. And I tend to misuse this drastically. I say, geez, We've had that for donkey's years, and we maybe had it for like 3 years. Donkeys don't live that long in my head, apparently. Dosser, which means someone who's not working very hard or is messing around, and that's basically true. Yeah, she's the right dosser. Yeah. Then eat the head off, which means to really give out to someone, and you know, you could say, you know, your man, F the head off your one for leaving the cap off the toothpaste. So they did. Egypt, which I absolutely love. I love the word Egypt and I use it all the time. You are such an Egypt. Why did you do that? It basically means you utter moron. And yeah, I just think it's a brilliant word. Earwigging, which they have put means listening in on a private conversation, and that is basically exactly what it means. Would you stop earwigging to try and have a private chat? Effing and biting, which means swearing and cursing. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. F off, I think we all know what that means. Fair play, which means, you know, well done. Basically, fair play to you. You got the girl you're after. Then feck off, which means go away, piss off. I don't want to see you. Fierce, which means brilliant or excellent. Basically, you could say, oh, it was fierce last night, crack was mighty. Fine thing, which means good looking man or woman. I don't use it, I haven't heard anyone that does, but I can imagine it being used. Fluttered, which means very drunk. Gaff, which is someone's house, but we don't tend to use that much up here, like occasionally, but I think it's more common in the south. Gammy, which means crooked or odd looking. Gander, which they've put means quick glance. Oh, would you take a gander at that? Meaning, you know, would you have a look at it for me for a second, you know? So I suppose, yeah, a quick glance, but it usually isn't that quick of a glance. Gas, which means something or someone that's very, very funny. Gawk, which means to stare rudely. The next one seems a bit strange to me. It's get out of that garden. And apparently it's a fun phrase used in a conversation to get a laugh or reaction. I have never heard that used. So again, let me know in the comments if you use that phrase, if you have heard people use it, if you know where he uses it, because I've never heard that in my life. The next one is grand. One of my most commonly used phrases. I use this all the time. Ah, sure to be grand. That's grand. Oh, it's grand. Oh, the weather's grand. You grand. So many uses. It's brilliant. The next one is, I think, pronounced hams. I'm not 100% sure about that. It says complete mess, and we don't, like, I certainly have never heard it used, but I think I've heard it maybe used in other people's YouTube videos. How's your cotton, which means hi, how are you? It's a crack. Basically, it's not really a phrase that I use, but I've heard more people use it, I think in Derry maybe? How are you? Which means hi, hello. It's kind of a way of saying, like, how are you? But condensing it into one word, which we are brilliant at. The next one's Jackeen, or Jackeen, which apparently is a rural person's name for a Dubliner. Jacks, which apparently means toilet, but I don't use that. I haven't heard anyone that does. But it sounds like something people would say. Knackered, which means exhausted or tired. I would also like to add knackered can mean kind of broken or just like, ugh, that is knackered. It's never gonna work. It's just falling apart. I would use knackered a lot to mean I'm tired. Legate, to run away quickly. Locked, which means very drunk. Manky, dirty, filthy or disgusting is what they have put, and that's very true. Yeah, so that is manky. Like, ugh, I am not touching that. Oh, moron, which means fool and absolute idiot. Mortified, which basically just means you're scundered. Actually, scundered is slang. So if they don't add that in, I'm gonna add that in myself. Scundered means mortified, embarrassed, really, really, really embarrassed. Murder, which basically just means it is really, really difficult. Not the full shilling, which means not quite 100% up here. On the tear, it basically means going out drinking, but I haven't ever heard anybody use it. Ossified, which is one of my favourite words to mean drunk, but more used in the south, but I just love it. Shattered, which is a phrase I use all the time because basically it means you're really, really tired. I'm like, shattered, go to bed. Slag, to slag someone is to mock them in a jokey fashion. They've put sorry. I'm not sure whether that's like a joke because we say it all the time, but apparently it means sorry and also excuse me, pardon me, sorry can I get in there please is the example that they've used. But yeah, basically we use sorry constantly, so it's like, oh sorry, can I get, yeah sorry, oh sorry I was just gonna, story as in what's the story, which basically means what's happening, what's the crack, what's up, the crack lads. I haven't heard this, but apparently it's sucking diesel means as in now you're sucking diesel, which means now you're talking, as in, you know, like, you know, now you're doing well, now we're getting somewhere. I've heard now you're talking, but I haven't heard sucking diesel. That's quite an odd thing to say, but I'd quite like to hear someone say it. Thick, meaning extremely stupid. Yeah, we use that a lot. The last one is Trinners, which means Trinity College. What, college? No, it doesn't. The last one is Trinners, which means Trinity College. College? I can't. What? The next one is Trinners, which means Trinity College in Dublin. I have heard people use that, but I never really talk about it. So I hope you enjoyed my little go over of Irish slang from various places across the country. I love our slang. I think we have the best slang in the world, to be honest with you. And yeah, so please subscribe to be notified whenever I make a new video, and press the thumbs up button if you liked this, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye guys.